Welcome back to the second episode of the 30 by 30 series here in SUALVI, and on this episode I'm going to show you how to make this title. This one took me a little less time than the one from the previous episode, but it still had a few things that I had to figure out. So let's go ahead and just start with it. So the first thing that we need to do is to create a background node. Let's make it red color, and then we're gonna create a rectangle mask or square or whatever, and then we're gonna put the height at 0.2 so it goes really skinny, and then the width we're gonna get it all the way down to make it a square. 0.2 doesn't actually make it a square, as you can see, and what I did was actually I didn't use a solid. But you could probably use a solid because we're not really doing much of shape wise. But let's just do it the way that I did it. And I made it have a little border, like 0.18 or something. And then then we can actually press Control, so it goes it changes little by little. Okay, so we have our square now. And what we had in the animation is a circle that turns into a square. Actually, yeah, it's a circle that turns into a square. So the first thing that we need to do before we animate that is to create our text so we know where will our line that goes in the middle start. So let's make that text and create a merger so we can see it. So let's write main title, and let's use this font, make it a little bit bigger, and there, so we know where our animation has to stop. So the next thing that we need to do is we're gonna create all the animations for this first, for the first part of the animation, and then we're gonna work with the text. So it's gonna come here, so we're gonna create a keyframe here at the frame, let's say frame 21st. We're gonna create a keyframe for the center, for the width, the height, and the corner radius. So what we want to do is to go back to the frame, let's say frame 13, and we're gonna go and make these go all the way down here, so it's gonna come out from the bottom and become bigger, as you can see. But then what we have to do first is make sure this is a circle. But then we're gonna make it bounce a little bit. So there's two ways of making it bounce in this spline tool, but we're gonna do it with the keyframes just to make it a little bit simpler. So then it's gonna go up there a little bit, and it's gonna come back to the 0.5. Oops, 0.5, and we're gonna make it a square at this point. So then we have our little bounce right there. After that, we're gonna go 2 frames or 3 to let it be there, sit there for like a couple seconds, couple keyframes, and then we're gonna do the animation for the line. So we started it, we're gonna press the width to start the animation, and then we're gonna put a couple more frames. Let's say 27, 28, 29, let's go to 34. That would be 7 frames, if I'm not wrong. And then we're gonna make it white. As you can see, the line is pretty thick still, right? So let's go back and change this line. from here, we don't have to change it, but we can make the keyframe. So then when it expands, it's actually thinner. And there's 0.03. So then it becomes that line. So there we have that. And then we can also add the motion blur and then make it 90 and the quality at 5. So the next thing that we want to do is to create our text and and then we're gonna create a mask for our text. Make it wider and just on the side, like a similar size. And let's make it a little bit smaller, shorter. There we have that. So the text is gonna come once the animation ends. The text should be there already. So let's make the text come out as the animation is ending. So there, it's in frame 33 and ends at 34. So let's make a keyframe for the text here in the center, in this section, in the layout section, and then we're gonna go a couple frames. Let's say 6 frames is where it should end. And then we go back to the first keyframe and drag it, down. It's gonna pop up like that. Then the next step will be to create a copy of these two, and we're gonna create a new merger for this and connect this merger to that. So we're gonna drag our text. First of all, since we copied these after we did the animation, we have to remove the path of it so it doesn't have any animations with it. Then we're gonna bring the mask down to this section, and then move I can't select it. Move the title down there, and then we're gonna change this to make it secondary. We're gonna make it small, like, and then we're gonna make it, there's no skinny, like light version of this font, but it doesn't matter. And there. So we want this animation to end there. So we're gonna go back to frame 33 and create a keyframe for the position of the text. Go back to 39. We're gonna make it end a little like later, a millisecond. So it's gonna go to 40 and create the new keyframe. Go back there, and then we can drag it up. Then it's gonna come out like that. But you see here, it's showing up as if the text is coming from on top of the line. So what the problem with that is that this is shown as a foreground. But if we change this and have the line as a foreground and these merge as a background, the line should be coming from behind it. There it goes. And we're gonna add a motion blur to these also, make it quality, and then we're gonna put these at 80 and do the same for both texts. 5 and then 80. We save it just in case. And we have that first part of our animation. So to end it, we're gonna go back to, let's see the text where it comes out. It's 40. Let's go to 60. So it stays there for less than a second because we're working on 24 frames per second timeline. It's gonna be, let's make it 1 second that stays alive. You can edit that later on. So then we have to start the animation for the line here. So we're gonna go back here and select center. We're gonna go, we're starting at 64. Let's go 5 frames. Let's go 69. And then we're gonna come down here. And then we're gonna go up, like, let's say 76. That's 7 frames. We're gonna go all the way up here. It's gonna do that movement. But it's not disappearing because we still have the masks on a different node. So what we have to do is go to frame 69 where we started the animation. Nope, 64 where we started. We're gonna take that second rectangle, the mask, and create a keyframe, and then go to where the line goes down and just go at that same speed. So it shows us it's taking it up. Then we have to go to the next one, to the first mask, and when the line hits the mask, we're gonna create a new keyframe and then go up. Oops. And then we're gonna go up. If this is not going at the same speed, you're gonna have to do a keyframe by keyframe, adjusting it to the line. But in this case, it worked. So after that, we have to animate the line to close down again. So then we're gonna create a keyframe here to all of the things that we did before. We're gonna make it to 85, 5 frames, and it's gonna come close down again to make it a little square. Little square. And after that, we're gonna create a corner radius. Gonna add it 2 frames, and make it a circle, and then make the center go down from that 88 all the way down. It's gonna go all the way down, and it's gonna disappear right here. So then we connect it to the media out, and that should be our text. So let's let it render. And that's pretty much it. And there you have it. So if you want to download these, I'm gonna try to upload this project file, the Fusion project, so then you can play around with it. And that's pretty much it for this episode. I always say that's pretty much, but that's fine. So that's it for this second day of the 30 by 30 challenge by SUALVI. I will see you tomorrow on a new episode of 30 by 30. See you next time.